Special thanks to Toys and Things in Danvers, Massachusetts, Reaper Miniatures, Off the Wall Games in Hadley, Massachusetts, Games and Friends in Springfield, Massachusetts, as well as AAA Games Arena in Wilbraham, Massachusetts. If you enjoy the show, help the podcast grow. Give us a follow on Twitter at LordsBroken, join the community Discord, and maybe consider offering a small tribute to the old ones on our Ko-Fi. All these links and more can be found in our link tree at linktr.ee/thebrokenlords. Thank you.
Once again, your vision blurs, and you are staring at the book in the hut.
I hate sorcerers.
You're telling me Cole is here because of a bad customer service experience?
This motherfucker is so petty. God damn. Can't leave a fucking 1-star Yelp review like a normal person. Nah, eternal slavery in my valley prison.
Let me see that. They peel it from Cole's clenched fingers.
It just audibly grinding teeth from Cole.
Yep.
Alright, so now you open the journal and gaze down upon very neat Argosian penmanship. You read the opening passage and the book glows once more. Weeks on the road had left you coated with dust and bone-weary, but your spirits were lifted as the small caravan finally entered into the cliff city of Messantia. The sea, the great square, the famed tiered market, all of these things you could not wait to behold. The sights in Messantia were all you had hoped for and more, but there was always a bitter taste behind it. It never weighed heavily on your mind, perhaps more hanging around the edges of your thoughts. That is, until the day a very strange man visited your stall and tossed a handful of coins of a type you had never seen onto your counter. "Corinthian, yes?" the strange man asked, leaning on his elbow. You simply nodded. "It has been long since I last visited that land. I miss it so. Such thoughtful people, such wonderful architecture." With a smile that did not touch his eyes, he stroked his pointed beard. The man ordered tea, your best brew, with the flavors of your homeland. He seemed friendly enough, if a bit unnerving. The conversation frequently drifted back to your homeland, but his knowledge of the place was off. As if he had merely read of it in a history book, a very old history book. Once or twice, he referred to cities you had not heard of, or places long since dust as if he had actually been there. A wise merchant does not correct her customers, so you nodded along as best you could. Several cups later, the conversation turned into the state of the local priesthood, and all at once you realized what had been bothering you about Messantia. Spoiling the place for you all along now that you've thought of it. The Mitran priests here are haughty and proud and hold too much wealth and power, you intoned. It is not proper for a servant of Mitra. He demands humility and justice, not usury and politics. And the priests of Anu here are even worse than those at home. The man's eyes glittered as he smiled, as if you had stumbled upon a truth he himself had long known. He rocked his teacup in his hand and stared deeply into it as if to read the dregs. Some would ask, he takes a deep pause, is humility even becoming of a god, or his servants? It is strange to think how powerful the Mitran faith is here, he chuckled condescendingly. Once, not so long ago, the only heavenly power in this city was Thala. A god you had never heard of was certainly worth learning about, so you bid him to go on. Thala is the sea, and Thala is a goddess. Here, the sea is all, and thus, Thala was the only one who mattered to the Messantians, and to many other Argosians besides. Now, more often than not, she is only represented here in luck charms or old statues gathering moss, or tiny shrines on sailors' mantle places. His eyes glittered once again, seeming almost to glow in the dying light of the day. But you can find her faithful here, in low places, forgotten places, if you know where to look. And to those faithful, Thala still grants her power. The hairs on your neck stood on end, and you felt as a fly in a web. You coughed and excused yourself. There was much to do, to close down for the day, you said, and supplies were running low. Perhaps it was time to move on. Of course, good merchant, he said, with a toothy smile. Of course, I do prattle on. Thank you for the wonderful conversation and this exquisite herbal blend. You are truly a master of your craft. He stood to leave. I only wish I could set you loose in my own herb garden and see what you came up with. But the journey would be long and quite arduous, even for one so footsore and well-traveled as you. As he spun on his heel and walked away, he gave a deep laugh, as if to a joke unheard. Your vision blurs, and once again you stand in the hut.
I'm just scowling. Just scowling. That's not... I mean... You want to turn? I offer the book to Octomer.
I don't know.
So far, it has only taken a moment for everyone.
It's true, but part of me feels like the reason I'm here doesn't matter as much as getting home. If that makes any sense.
It's up to you. You can either read it or not. It's your choice.
I'm gonna take the book from Phaedra, and I'm just gonna shut it and set it down.
Not going anywhere.
It's true. It seems like whatever foul magic has brought us here wishes us to know exactly why. If it wants to make itself known to me, it will. Tonight, I don't need to think about all that. We need rest instead, to plan a course of action for tomorrow.
I wish I'd had my wits about me enough to collect some meat before we ran away.
Well,
I mean, you guys still have ape meat.
we do have ape.
Oh,
we can cook
For what that's
some
worth.
rude ape meat on a fire. I feel like that's more what I'd concern myself with than reading a dusty old tome that seems to be casting sorcery on all of my friends.
Is there a spit?
Yeah.
But no pot, pan, no cookware.
You would have to, find like a flat rock or something.
We could just, like roasting marshmallows, cook ape meat on skewers over the fire.
Yeah, you could also like just put it on the spit.
We could
Like,
also
it
just
doesn't-
put it on a spit.
Oh, sure. I'm just thinking more broadly. For example, like, we can just eat meat, but more diversity, we'd probably feel better, for one. For another...
It would be critical to your survival,
For
yes.
another, it may come to a point where we do have to boil the water for safety. Never mind for making stuff. Not just tea and potions, either. Like, it's...
All of these are luxuries we can afford when we have time to scrounge and build. Right now, we are naked and alone in a hut with a fire and 2 dead apes.
Chunks of 2 dead apes.
Chunks of 2 dead apes.
I'm just gonna point out that you voluntarily took your pants off.
And you're welcome for doing so.
Hmm.
Our foes have felt every single one of those decisions.
Mm-hmm. They sure have.
I will very proudly sit down and begin roasting chunks of dead ape.
Alright, we have a proud near cannibal.
You think of anything else to eat, brother?
I don't have to.
I ain't eating my pants.
That is
for sure.
not his problem currently.
It's literally not my problem.
It's gonna taste like ass, but I will go with almost cannibalism as well.
Beats starving.
Yes.
Maybe we can venture out and get some of that boar tomorrow.
Oh yes, no, a lot of these problems Ricardo feels is tomorrow's problem.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Now that we have a place that we can act as a temporary base of operations.
Yeah,
So it seems anyway.
daylight would be better. It's not great to wander a forest filled with giant snakes in the dark.
Nope.
So I don't think anybody thinks that's a good idea.
0%
No.
chance that's happening with Ricardo Vega.
I don't even think I'd want any of my companions leaving the fucking cabin at this point.